And welcome back to the Upside Sports Network. My name is Michael. Appreciate you guys joining us yet again. We already had part one where we did a live snake draft and an auction draft. Those of you might refer to it as a salary cap draft nowadays anyway. But we did a couple of those anyway. We're going to do a couple more tonight in our part two of our video tonight. So feel free to stick around. Thanks, James, for joining us our last few drafts anyway. Done 5 of these so far, and just wanted to continue to do that as we gear up for the NFL season on Thursday. Should be a great game between the Rams and Bills to open the season on Thursday. Unfortunately, that's the day I'll be working open to close, but as soon as I get home, I'll be watching it right along with you guys. I may even start up a live stream with you guys, just so you guys can chat about the game. Excited about football being back. But really excited to see the season finally get underway. Football is not my favorite sport, but always at the beginning of the season, that's all I can talk about as well. Even though it may not be my favorite, it's still right up there right when the season gets going. But we'll see how the season goes. Thank you guys for joining us, and so let's get to it. Alrighty, so as I mentioned before, we always use ESPN.com. I know a lot of you guys out there use, Yahoo or whatever else you might be using. Go ahead and use whatever platform you like. The drafting scenarios are very similar. Not too much differentiation between them. I just like the format of ESPN better. I'm more comfortable with how the layout is. Been using it for 20 years, so I'm not about to change now. But the only change I've made, of course, is going with PPR scoring nowadays. Just really like how they value receivers a lot more than they had been previously, so we'll go with PPR again. We did a snake draft and a auction draft a couple hours ago, and now we're going to go ahead and start with another snake draft and go ahead and draft now. But thank you guys for joining us. Again, we've done this for a very long time, so we're not going to click beginner. PPR is what we want to go with, and snake. Let's go ahead and join a league. 55 seconds here until the league begins, or until the draft. Hopefully it'll fill up before then. I don't like waiting the extra 5 minutes, just like you guys. Go ahead and save our changes there. And it's already almost full. So if you guys want to draft right along with us, you're more than welcome to. Hopefully you guys have enough members in your league as well. 32 seconds left until our team begins. Been drafting while I watch. Hopefully to think of it from a different perspective while I wait for my next pick. Yep. That's kind of what I'm hoping you guys do. Whenever you guys are watching us live, go ahead and draft your own team. I'm going to have many fantasy football teams this year. I've shown you guys a few of them, named them upside. That way I know which ones we actually drafted live on the air. I've only drafted a couple off the air with you guys, or without you guys watching anyway. But we'll see how this one goes. Last time we did a snake draft, we ended up with the number 1 pick for the first time so far this season. Kind of hoping we end up with the number 10 pick this draft, but let's see what we get. Let's go ahead and enter the draft room. Unfortunately, there's always an ad first. We end up with the number 8 pick. All right. I do like drafting a little bit later. I just like how the board falls in rounds 3 through 5. I also like round 2 as long as I really like Deebo Samuel in the second round. I think he's probably the most valuable piece in the second round you can have. I mean, just look at the rest of the picks right here. These are projected picks in the second round. Davante Adams, don't know what he's going to do with the Las Vegas Raiders. Gotta imagine it's going to be a step back from what he did with the Green Bay Packers. Deebo Samuel, all those touchdowns he scored, all the rushing attempts, it's kind of a dual threat there. Stephon Diggs, another year in that offense, should be more of the same for him. But again, I still like Deebo Samuel even more than that. Joe Mixon, kind of a steady Eddie running back. You can count on him for about 260 to 280 points this year. DeAndre Swift, you got to wonder about injuries and overall productivity. Last year, when healthy, he was performing very well. But again, I wonder about that Detroit Lions offense. They have a lot of pieces there now. We'll see how they utilize those pieces. Amon-Ra St. Brown acted like a number 2 fantasy receiver last year at the end of the season. Obviously, he's not that this year, but how many touches is DeAndre Swift going to get? How much utilization is he going to have? And how effective is he going to be as well? CeeDee Lamb, now that Cooper's gone, takes over that number 1 role in that offense. My question for him is how many touchdowns is CeeDee Lamb really going to get this year? They still have Michael Gallup there coming off of injury. James Washington is out for the year with injury. They have Jalen Tolbert, a rookie. So the targets should be there for Lamb. I'm just wondering if it's going to be 3 yards in a pile of dust like Jalen Waddle last year, or if we're going to see 3 yards and then he takes it to the house, that type of thing. I think that's a little bit more likely. That's why you see him being drafted in the second round, but I still wonder. That's why I still like Deebo Samuel ahead of him. Tyreek Hill, you wonder about that offense. Is he really going to mesh with Tua? We saw on the first play that Tyreek Hill had with Tua, he had a 51-yard pass play on the first play. But again, Jalen Waddle wasn't there. Waddle has had a little bit of an injury issue this preseason. Waddle last year, with the connection that he has with Tua coming from Alabama together, I wonder how much that's going to play a role in Tua's thinking as far as which target he tries to focus on during games. Leonard Fournette, I pretty much documented it in every single video I've done. If you're drafting him at all, go ahead and just check out of your fantasy league. I don't think you're going to have much success at all. You're going to count on at least 2 or 3 other running backs to fill the void that you have, because you're going to have to draft Leonard Fournette so early. That offensive line is banged up. I don't expect Brady to run the ball into loaded boxes this season anyway. I imagine they're going to use a short passing game instead. So again, look elsewhere for a running back than Leonard Fournette. Now, if you can get him in, say, the 6th round, great, but he's not going to get there. There's going to be an auto draft there. So far, everybody's in this draft, so we'll see what ends up happening. So far, it's gone chalk. The rest of the 2 picks, anyway, Mark Andrews. I like Travis Kelce better. Andrews and Lamar Jackson didn't exactly work on the same page last year. Acted more like tight end 5 last year when Lamar Jackson was in there. Huntley, of course, came in as the backup and really utilized that security blanket in Andrews. Touchdown percentages ticked up as well, so I wonder how effective he's going to be. A little bit off the board there at Derrick Henry going as the number 3 pick. For my money, I'd rather have Austin Eckler as my top back rather than Henry. And then, of course, Javonte Williams. Still kind of a two-headed monster there with Gordon and Javonte Williams. Williams is clearly 1A this year. I expect him to really take over the workload there. My question is, how early does he really assert his dominance as the starting running back there? Plus, Russell Wilson is there as well. Has always limited the running back's capability as far as fantasy. I wonder if he's worth a 2nd-round pick. For my money, I'd probably hold off. But we've had a couple of... Looks like one team has ducked in and out of this draft so far. But, there goes Eckler. I was kind of hoping he'd drop to me, but don't think he will. Jamar Chase is probably the best wide receiver on the block right now. Last year, just want to check out his final few games last year. 55 points against Kansas City. I don't think that's duplicatable. But just looking at his numbers, usually you're looking at 5 catches, 100-ish yards, maybe a touchdown. Dalvin Cook is gone. You still have Najee Harris. Four picks left in between. We're probably going to be left with one of Adams, Samuel, and Diggs with our next pick. I don't like Kamara this year. Najee's the best first-round running back left on the board. It's between Harris and Chase for me. I'm mainly wondering about Harris because of the availability of running backs later on in the draft. They're harder to come by. That offensive line in Pittsburgh isn't much better than it was last year. Jamar Chase in year 2. I'm going to go ahead and take Jamar Chase. I think he's just that good as far as a wide receiver 1. There goes Najee, as you'd expect. Now I'm hoping for Debo to be there at 13. I don't think he will be. Maybe we'll see somebody go off the board here with Brewington. There's a little bit of an off-the-board pick. Aaron Jones, okay. Got to reach if you want him want him in that spot because he wasn't going to be there at the next pick, so I kind of understand it. Wow. Kamara falls to me? Okay, I was kind of hoping he'd be gone and I might have a chance at somebody else, but Deebo Samuel, as I mentioned, is my lock for my number 2 pick there. Go ahead and take him. No questions asked. All right, Diggs is by far the best player on the board, but he's not going to get there. Let's go ahead and slide on down here. This is about the range of our next pick. Hopefully one of these guys will fall to us. Kelce very likely will go a little bit earlier than his 21 projection here. Connor is probably my favorite running back in this group now that Jones is gone. In fact, probably be ahead of Jones, honestly. Just the touchdown potential, I'm really hoping he's there for my next pick. He's by far the best runner on the board. And then Nick Chubb. But we'll see how it goes. There goes Kamara, finally off the board. Sounds like running, or at least looks like running backs are going off the board a little early. Maybe Brewington was a Packer fan and took Jones and Adams. Got to be careful of that one whenever we start thinking about A.J. Dillon in rounds 8 and 9 and 10. There goes Steady Eddie Joe Mixon. Running backs coming off the board now. Patrick Mahomes really early there. Just fine with that. There goes Lamb and Hill. That's fine. Got 7 picks left. Connor probably doesn't make it to me now. Both of the 2 tight ends are gone. Connor's my favorite piece left. Higgins is on the board. DJ Moore as well. Nick Chubb is probably the top runner left after Connor. So I'd probably go Chubb possibly with my pick if Connor's gone. Okay. 12-team PPR. Guessing a Lions fan. I'm guessing you got DeAndre Swift in your second round of your draft. Did you do snake or auction draft? Lamar, Debo. Debo probably was your second, might have been your first round pick. Nice. Cowboys fan, me too. Josh Allen goes really early, that's fine, just as long as Connor's there for me. Okay, Henderson, I like that. Gage, nice pick. Herbert, eh. White, eh. Patterson, not bad. Lockett, you probably could have done better. Akers, you got the Rams running back situation, I guess, so that's at least not bad. 1 to 10, I'd give it a 6, maybe a 7. I mean, it is a 12-team league, so your choices aren't going to be great at the back end of that draft. Wow, Saquon before James Conner? Are you high? Okay, thank you. James Conner all day long. Hoping Higgins or Moore fall to me, but I doubt it. But if I had to go, probably a 7. I like Jerry Jeudy, has top 15 potential this year. Debo, you're good at receiver. Got one of the top quarterbacks at the position, probably a top 4 quarterback this year in Jackson as long as he's healthy. Wow, a reach for Pitts. Okay. Looks like tight ends are going to fly out. I'll give it a 7. I like that you got the running backs or the running back for the Rams situation either way. I wonder if you could have done something else instead of Akers though. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that. Akers flies off the board here. That's just fine. I don't want him. James Conner. I've been telling everybody this in every single one of my fantasy videos is that last year, every single time they got into the red zone, Cliff Kingsbury, you think he wants to pass the ball? Absolutely not. James Conner gets the rock every single time they get into the red zone. That's why his touchdowns were so high last year. He's not going to be threatened in the backfield as much this year. I think his backup this year is Darrell Williams. So you're looking at James Conner to have a massive fantasy year, especially with touchdowns yet again. Usually touchdowns, you don't want to count on him too much, but he's one guy when you get into the red zone, you can count on probably 10 to 15 touchdowns easy from James Conner. And wow, T. Higgins falls to me. Thank you very much. Now, do I want both of the Bengals receivers? That's the question. Nick Chubb is still there. Kind of surprised, honestly. I already have Chase and Samuel. I need to lock up my running back situation, I think, a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Nick Chubb. Now, I might be passing on a top 10 receiver there in T. Higgins. That one hurts a little bit. All right, looking at the next batch of picks, we're probably going to be looking in the Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, J.K. Dobbins area of the draft. Jalen Waddle is a good receiver, but he's not going to be there by my next pick. If you guys are just joining us, don't be afraid. Join the chat. If you're drafting a team along with us, hopefully you're having fun with us. I use ESPN, but if you use Yahoo or whatever else you use, I think there's another one called Underdog or whatever. I don't think I would ever use it, but however you play fantasy, go ahead and sign up for a league and draft along with us. We'll be doing a snake draft now. We'll at least do another auction draft after this, and probably another snake. I prefer the snake draft just because the way the teams are a lot more balanced, honestly. I like my leagues to be competitive. I don't want just 3 teams to run away with it and then you don't, actually play fantasy. Downside of snake drafts, every now and again you get a team that does auto draft and then not pay attention the entire season. Looks like we got about 7 picks left. I'm hoping most of these players go in that time. Waddle, Williams, Cooks, Montgomery, Hall, and Brown. The only one that of interest to me is Waddle, and he's going to go to the auto pick here. Oh. Amon-Ra St. Brown is off the board. Okay. Herbert is still on the board as far as quarterbacks. I don't want to reach for him at 48. Waller goes off the board. A little bit surprising. There goes Herbert. I still have no interest in this group of receivers and running backs. With 3 picks left until me. Probably looking more at Sutton here. Jerry Jeudy went way earlier. 1 pick left. Got to worry about bye week issues. There we go. I don't have to worry about it now that Sutton's off the board. Dobbins would be a good 3rd running back, but I really like Pierce as my 3rd running back, so I'm going to go ahead and hold off. Anybody else that's elite that gets drafted really high? Kittle is a good tight end. If I take Kittle here, that gives me 3 starters on week 9 bye. That'd probably be my limit, which is fine. Kittle is still more valuable than almost all those pieces except for maybe Mitchell and Davis and Dobbins. Alright, so we got a little bit of a question here. Kittle, Mitchell, Davis, or Dobbins? You're drafting a lot on potential if you go with Dobbins here. I got to go Kittle just because he's the last good tight end left, and then we'll see how the board shakes out for me. I don't think he would have been there by my next pick. Oh, and Hurts goes off the board. Really? I was kind of hoping he'd be there by my next pick. Goes off the board really early. Quarterbacks are coming off the board a little earlier in this draft. Last one of any elite level left, in my opinion, is Lamar Jackson. I don't believe in Kyler Murray. I think you're looking at his ceiling there at 314 points. I don't think that there's not much more growth beyond that. Lamar Jackson, as long as he stays healthy, should score more than 315 easily. My other quarterbacks I like to keep an eye on, Brady and Trey Lance later on. Probably going to hold off on quarterback at this point. I don't like to draft quarterback too early. Lamar Jackson probably comes off the board anyway in the next couple of picks. There goes Brady. Wow. He was my fallback option that I was going to go with later. How many quarterbacks does this guy have? Just the one? Okay, I thought he was the one that drafted Adams. Not the case. Looks like I might get Lamar Jackson instead at quarterback, I suppose. I mean, he's a week 10 bye. If I get him, and then Trey Lance, I think I'm set at quarterback. I really would like a good flex option here. Dobbins is still on the board. I want to see how they're viewing Dobbins this year. "17 points a game in his final few games of his rookie season. Missed all of last year. Gus Edwards is out. They brought in Kenyon Drake. Let's go ahead and get... this is going to hurt because I'm going to miss out on Jackson. Let's go ahead and get Dobbins. That locks up a good number 3 running back. And then I'm going to go ahead and put Pierce in this group because he's the next running back I want. And then Dillon is the next running back after that. And that would pretty much solve my running back room if I get both of those two. If I get Pierce as my number 4 and Dillon as my number 5, I'm good at running back. Receiver is going to be a little bit of a question now. Pierce's draft value just keeps going up and up and up. A little bit surprised if he actually makes it to my next pick. Hoping he does, but I don't think so. Going to need some backup receivers as well. Need at least 2 good other options. There goes Lamar Jackson. So now I'm probably going to wait on quarterback till after round 11. Well, after round 9. See if I can get one of the Steady Eddie quarterbacks and then maybe Trey Lance as my lottery ticket. Probably grab Trey Lance first and then see what Steady Eddie is left at the back end. Maybe Joe Burrow could be another lottery ticket if Lance is off the board. Stafford could be an option. Russell Wilson's decent, but I wonder about his trajectory going forward. I don't like Kyler Murray, as I mentioned. Prescott has a little bit more growth in there left. Rodgers is going to probably be in that 7 to 10 range as far as quarterbacks. Josh Jacobs, that's just fine. There goes Murray. So the quarterback room pretty much set until pick 100 at this point. Here comes the run on those receivers. Keep drafting them. If Elijah Mitchell is there, that'd be shocking. I'm hoping for Gabe Davis. That'd be great to have him as my number 3. Your other options down here, you're looking at Allen Robinson, Christian Kirk, Juju Smith-Schuster, Adam Thielen. All receivers I like this year. There goes Godwin off the board. There goes Renfro. Looks like somebody's starting to reach back into that group of receivers I like. Avoid Sanders, avoid Cooper. Got a nice group of players here. Bills defense really early again. Why you take him in the top 10 rounds, I do not know. Stream your defenses. At worst, you're counting on at least 8 points from your streamed defense. There goes Prescott. Okay, Mitchell is still on the board. I might just go with running backs here. Mitchell is really good, but I really like Pierce better. And I think people are passing on Mitchell. So if Mitchell is there, I might take him with my next pick, but I lock up the running back I like. There goes Mitchell. That's fine. Now I turn my attention to these Receivers, you got Allen Robinson, Christian Kirk, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Not all of them are going to make them to the following pick after this one, so I'll grab one of those. And then hopefully Thielen's there for my fourth receiver. I don't think he will be, though. This pick will be my backup receiver, and then I'll go quarterback with my next pick. That's fine for Cordarrelle Patterson to go here. Miles Sanders, thank you. All right, so I get my pick of Robinson, Kirk, or Schuster. I think Schuster's probably the safest bet, followed by Robinson. Great offenses. Christian Kirk's going to have a very good role. I'm going to go ahead and take Juju as my third receiver and hope one of those guys makes it to my next pick. More than likely, though, we're going to be looking at this group of receivers: Bateman, London, Moore, Lockett, Smith, all of which are not on my board. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate it. If you're just joining us for the first time, hit that like button and subscribe. Antonio Gibson this early, thank you. There goes Robinson. Now, I'm hoping everybody's scared off by Christian Kirk and avoids him, but I don't think anybody's going to do it. Should both of them be gone, then we're going to turn our attention to the quarterback spot. Got a couple quarterbacks I really like. Trey Lance, number 1. Burrow, 2. Stafford, 3. Wilson, 4. So those are the 4 quarterbacks that are worth at least starting in your league. Everybody else is bye week fill-ins. You know, if something goes terribly wrong at the position. If anybody has any potential out of this group to make it later on in the season as a great piece, is Deshaun Watson, but there's no point in drafting him. No point in picking him up on waivers until at least week 12, week 10 maybe if you're trying to push it. Should see Singletary come off the board here to Team Young as he auto drafts. Then we're looking at least 3 more auto drafts off the boards. That would take Kirk off the board for me at the very minimum. So then we're going to be looking at Thielen as the best option if everything falls just right. There goes Cooper. Just fine losing him. You guys tell me, where do you think this draft is going to end up? I think we're going to be looking at options in this range here. Smith, Hunt, Stevenson, Harris, Edmonds. All of which I don't like. Probably going to go quarterback, though, with our next pick, and then follow that up with A.J. Dillon. Just to completely lock up my running back spot. And then probably go with Romeo Doubs as the lottery pick at receiver. And then maybe George Pickens. I like Raheem Mostert as well as far as a running back. Got 10 picks, though, until mine. I don't think there's a prayer in the world that I get the player I want. Zach Ertz is off the board. If you're looking for a tight end late in this round of late in this area of the draft, Ertz is probably your best option. 7 picks, and I still got 2 options. Doubtful they make it, though. There goes Hunt. Kirk is off the board. Thielen's the last of the receivers I like at this spot. If Thielen makes it, I'd be overjoyed. I'd be shocked if he makes it, though. But maybe somebody will go for the potential of a Drake London or a Devontae Smith. But I think he's by far the most valuable piece left, aside from the quarterbacks that I'm eyeballing. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate it. Up to 14 of you guys right now. Thank you very much. Go ahead and sign up for a draft. Draft alongside us. We'll start another draft as soon as this one is over. We're already in round 9 of this one. This one's going fairly quickly. We'll draft another one right after this. And we might even do another one as well. So we'll probably get close to the 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock hour Central Time. Come on, MacGyver. Defense in round 9? Get out of here. More than happy to see you take him, though. And there goes Thielen. Okay. So now we're left with our quarterbacks. There goes Tucker. That's fine. Don't draft your kicker or defense until at least round 13 through 16. And that's only if everything else on your roster is just perfect and you want to get that A1 defense, A1 kicker early. Other than that, wait until round 15 and 16. You can always stream a defense. I don't care how bad your defense is that you draft. You just need one good defense every week. There goes Edmonds. That's just fine. Trey Lance will probably be my first selection here. Although we're starting to see some reaches into that running back group. A.J. Dillon might be threatened here. There goes Stevenson. The running backs are coming off the board now. Just looking at the quarterback room, I think Dillon I have to go with here first. I think. There's no way Dillon makes it to my next pick, that's for sure. Looking at the quarterback room that's left, Lance, Stafford, Burrow, and Wilson are all still on the board. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and take Dillon. That locks up my 5 running backs. And now I want Lance and then Burrow. Burrow probably gets drafted ahead of Lance if I had to guess. So I might go Burrow first, maybe. Let's just see how the other teams have played. They already have one quarterback there. One quarterback there. One quarterback there. Looks like most of these teams have their quarterback except for Lind. And he's an auto draft, so I don't have to worry about him taking Trey Lance. It's a good thing for me. This guy better be aware of where his draft clock is. He's got 12 seconds left to pick. And he's got another pick right after this, so he's in danger of being auto-drafted. Takes Goddard. I don't know why it took him so long. Drake London is still up there. Drake London will be in consideration for flex, but I don't think he's going to be worth playing at the flex, though. Especially with my running backs that I have. So I think Burrow is probably my next pick. And then I want Lance. That's the top 2 quarterbacks on my board. Just because I think there might be a chance that Lance makes it to me, I'm going to go ahead and take Burrow with my next pick. There we go. Joe Burrow locked up. I still only have 3 receivers, but that's okay. There's one of the receivers I like still this late. There's another one there. Alright, so that way you guys can see the roster so far. We got Burrow as our starting quarterback, Connor and Chubb as our running backs, Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Dobbins as our flex. I think I'll probably play Pierce above Dobbins week 1. Maybe even Dillon in that spot. Schuster is also on our bench, so I got 3 good receivers. I do need more, though. Let's just look at the wide receivers that are left on the board. London, Moore, Smith, Toney, Woods, and Hopkins are the top options available. Hopkins probably the only one of that group that I'm even remotely interested in, as 2 of them come off the board there. Chase Claypool, I've had good luck with him in the past, but I'm not counting on him this year. I think he's fool's gold this year late in the draft. I think he'll be stuck on the end of your bench. You won't want to cut him because you know what he's capable of, but you don't want to start him because you can't count on him to get you 15 points in a game. Got 4 receivers left on the board of decent value. And then Garrett Wilson, I like him out of the Jets anyway, but I want to see a year of production out of him before I draft him. I'd rather have Olave if I had to pick one of those 2. But give me Romeo Doubs out of Green Bay. Next pick is going to be Trey Lance as long as he makes it there. Still got 4 bench spots available. One of those will be a quarterback. Probably 2 of those will be a receiver. And then I might go for yet another running back just because I really like a couple of runners that are still on the board. Raheem Mostert and Darrell Henderson. I think there's a chance Darrell Henderson ends up being the starting running back for the Rams by week 6. There goes Russell Wilson off the board. Bucks defense, that's fine. Stafford, the top quarterback left. We got a couple of auto drafts though. Again, after this draft is over, we will be doing another one and another one after that. So we'll at least do one more snake and an auction draft. There goes Stafford. The only quarterback left of any value is Trey Lance. Please let him fall to me. Got 5 picks until then. DeAndre Hopkins, probably the biggest name recognition on the board left. I doubt he makes it to my pick. In fact, there he goes. Rashad Penny is a nice running back this late in the draft as well. Should get some nice work out of that Seattle offense. Even with Geno Smith under center, the running back there should still do nicely. There goes Olave and Tony. 2 picks left. Come on, Trey Lance, fall to me. I don't think he will, though. I have a bad feeling. There goes Penny. And Kmet, okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll take Trey Lance all day long. Now I got my 2 quarterbacks, both high upside players at quarterback in Burrow and Lance. I've got a very strong team. I'm going to be a little bit weak on the back end of my bench, but that's okay. This draft has gone very well. Mostert, I'm going to go ahead and put him in my queue. And then I don't really like anybody else in this area of the draft except for Henderson. Alrighty. Cowboys defense this early. Wow. Wow. Just wow. Don't take a defense. Do not take a defense until the very last couple rounds of your draft. I know there are some formats out there that don't force you to take a kicker or a defense out there if you don't want to. You can just load up on that bench spot. There goes Claypool. He probably would have been one of the better options at this point. But I'm going to go for Romeo here, go for upside. I'm going for home run options this late in the draft because I have 2 studs at receiver and a good backup option in Juju. Alright, got a little bit of time here to kill until we get to our next pick. We're in round 12 right now, about to go into 13. There goes James Robinson, one of the good backup options this year. I don't think he's elite, but if you can get him as your 5th or 6th running back option, not a bad choice. I still would rather have Raheem Mostert or Darrell Henderson, though. Don't know what to expect out of that Jacksonville offense, so I can't count on it. Any of you guys drafting along with us? I know James said he's been drafting with us. Another defense, that's fine. George Pickens is probably the best receiver left in my opinion. Russell Gage should have some production out of Tampa Bay, but not enough to warrant fantasy consideration. Gallup as well, but not enough to warrant fantasy consideration. Michael Gallup is already considered out for week 1. Sounds like he might make a return at some point in the first couple weeks of the season, but not week 1. So if you want a spot on your IR and you're looking at the bench here, maybe you take Gallup and hope one of your late round options makes it to you in waivers. There goes the 49ers defense that I really like this year. Alright, so I think Raheem Mostert's probably our next selection. then Pickens will be the following selection. I do need receiver just a hair more. Maybe I could go Pickens and then Mostert. There are a couple of running backs in front. They are reaching for the rookie receivers. I'm going to go ahead and take Pickens first, even though I think Mostert's the better option. I just think he might fall to me. So now I got my 5 receivers. I got my tight end, a couple of quarterbacks. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish up this roster here. Get another running back, and then we'll go defense and kicker with our final 2 picks. If you drafted a team with us, let us know what you did. We can rate it 1 to 10. If you got a trade proposal you're thinking about, or somebody you're thinking about moving it to. Say if you drafted Jonathan Taylor like I did the last draft, I'm looking to trade him in that league. See if I can get more production, spread out that productivity. Come on now, Brewington, you take this long every single pick. Let's go, man. There goes a couple of more quarterbacks off the board. Very happy with the 2 I got. Thank you very much. Would still have liked to have had a chance at Brady and Hurts, but not to be the case. I like Josh Allen this year, but I can't draft him. There goes Tyler Higbee. Alright, looks like Mostert might actually make it to us. Yep, and he does. Alright, so the defenses that are left, I really like McManus as my kicker. He's my first option. Fulk probably next. And then there's no way McPherson makes it to me, but if he's still there, cool. Looking at the defenses, I like the Broncos defense in week 1. I actually kind of like it in week 2 because they go up against the Texans at home. So we're going to go ahead and cue the Broncos defense. Look how low their point total or they're expected to have this year is at 87. Don't pay attention to that. I like to stream defenses, so I'm looking for 1 great week of production, and if they give me anything else, great, but I'm not counting on it because I'm probably going to cut them anyway and go for another defense on the waiver wire in week 2. Broncos, though, have a chance to be on my roster for 2 weeks because they play the Seahawks in Seattle week 1. They play at home against Houston in week 2, and we'll see how their roster or how their schedule shakes out after that. But I really like that defense as far as for the first 2 weeks at least. But that's kind of where we're at there. Our bench is completely solidified now. Dobbins is our flex, but the rest of our bench goes like this. Dameon Pierce out of the Texans should be a great running back 2 in my opinion. Dillon should be another running back 2 as well. Juju Smith-Schuster is in competition to be a wide receiver 2 this year. Maybe a wide receiver 3, but in either case, I have Chase and Samuel as my top 2 picks already at the position. At quarterback, I already have Joe Burrow and Trey Lance. We'll see how they go this year. Then I went lottery tickets after that. I went Romeo Doubs out of Green Bay, George Pickens out of Pittsburgh, and I went with Raheem Mostert out of Miami. Raheem must start, depending on how you might have heard of him in the past. Was with the 49ers last year. Mike McDaniels, the head coach in Miami, is now the head coach, or was his offensive coordinator there with the 49ers. We'll see how good he is this year. Looks like we're just getting to the back end of the draft here. I'm hoping McPherson falls to me, but I doubt it. He's the top kicker left. Had a lot of opportunities from deep last year. Not sure if he can duplicate it. But in either event, I like Brandon McManus now that Russell Wilson is under center for the Denver Broncos. They could have some issues getting into the end zone early in the season, so he should perform very well. And again, you can stream kickers, so don't be afraid to stream positions. McManus looks like he might fall to me here. There goes Butker. Chargers defense, that's just fine. Give me McManus. And again, because it's a kicker, I don't care about bye week issues. Now we're just waiting for the Broncos defense. Should the Broncos defense be scooped up? I really hope not, but if it is, the Panthers defense goes up against Brissett in week 1. That's a good option. Titans, I believe, are going up against the Giants. That's another one. Commanders are going up against the Jaguars. Not as good of an option, but they have been a good defense in the past. But I'd definitely take the Broncos in week 1. Come on, Brewington, pick somebody. I think we'll do another snake draft after this one. As soon as we make this final selection, there goes the Steelers defense. Looks good for me. Rams defense is still on the board. I don't think they'll be a very good scoring defense. Some weeks anyway. There'll be other weeks when they go up against the likes of the Falcons or some other very poor NFC team. They should have some production. But give me the Broncos, and there we go. Just waiting for this draft to finish up. Just so you guys can kind of see everything again, our first pick, of course, was Jamar Chase, followed by Deebo Samuel, and then James Conner. 3 elite options, possibly, wide receiver 1 or running back 1 in all 3 of those picks. Nick Chubb, a borderline 1 as well at the spot. And then you have George Kittle, who's going to be the 4th best tight end this year after Kelsey, Pitts, Andrews, and then Kittle. You could flip around Pitts and Andrews, but for me, I would take Pitts just because I think he's going to catch more passes. I don't buy in to the connection between Jackson and Andrews as much as everybody else, even though I really like Andrews the player. I think if the backup quarterback was in there, Andrews probably would be even above Kelsey as well. Then, of course, my bench, we got Dobbins, as far as a flex anyway, and then Pierce, Schuster, Dillon, Dubes, Pickens, and Mostart, and then, of course, my quarterbacks, interchangeable in my opinion, in Burrow and Lance, at least to start the season. We'll see how it goes, though. Come on, let's go, people. I want to get the next draft going. So what do you guys think? Rate the draft 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. How'd we do? Of course, everybody thinks their draft is a 10. For me, out of all the drafts I've done, this one went pretty well. I would have liked a better backup receiver. I like how quarterback ended up, even though I waited as late as I did. My receivers, the top-end receivers, are phenomenal. My running back room is elite. I'd have to give this at least a solid 8 in my book. Maybe an 8.5. Alright, let's go ahead and do another snake draft. Join league. And boom, I was the last team in this league, so maybe I'll get a high pick again. Just seems like that's the way it works out sometimes. If you're the last one to your draft room, sometimes you get that 1 through 3 pick. Austin Ekeler is probably my favorite target as far as a running back this year in the first round. Because I think if you're Jonathan Taylor, that kind of obviously is your first option, obviously. But I don't like McCaffrey as much as Ekeler. Same thing for Harris, Cook, Henry. I really like the pass catching ability of Ekeler. But you do have to worry about injuries with him. He has been nicked up here and there. But another year in that offense for Herbert. That team should be firing on all cylinders. That division is going to be very competitive, though. Should be shootouts whenever they do get together. 30 seconds here till the league starts. That last draft just took us right at about an hour. That was pretty good. So if you're wondering how long does it take to draft, well, each pick you get 1:30, so there's 160 picks. Could take anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. Draft room is now open. Let's see where we ended up. Last time we ended up with the number, what was it, 8 spot in the draft? There we go. We get the number 2 pick. Okay. I have not been the number 2 pick yet. We did number 1 earlier. We'll see how this one goes. Just looking at the board, Jonathan Taylor, if he falls to 2, we'll take him. I don't like McCaffrey as much this year, but it's kind of hard not to take him. I mean, when he's in there, he's gold for fantasy, but $127 points last year. Just looking at his games when he was actually in the lineup. I imagine they're going to run the ball a lot more with Baker under center because they'll be in games a lot more. That defense is improved. You're looking at 25 points a game when he's getting the carries that he needs to. Gets a bunch of receptions as well. I guess we'd have to go with McCaffrey. Even though he does have injuries. He missed what? The final 5 games of the year. He also missed 5 earlier in the season. So he missed 10 games last year. Roughly 2/3 of the season. And he still put up 127 points. That just means I'm going to need a strong running back 3 and strong running back number 4. About to get underway here. My receivers might hurt, especially in round 2 and 3. Because round 2, I'm guessing I'll probably end up with Travis Kelce. I doubt Deebo Samuel will fall to me that late. Diggs won't fall to me that late. I'll be stuck with either Lamb or Hill, somebody like that. And my guess is I'll probably end up with Kelce and then maybe Connor or Jones. I like T. Higgins, but if Connor or Jones are still on the board, I'd have to double up on running back there. And then we're looking for probably Nick Chubb, Jalen Waddle, Deontay Jordan, something like that. Kyle Pitts for around 4 or 5. So you got to plan this out. If you're going to have this many selections, you want to make sure everything works just the way you need it to. So if McCaffrey does go down, you want to give yourself some insurance. You don't want to be left in a position with players you don't like because you already drafted others. There goes Taylor number 1, McCaffrey number 2. first round should go pretty quickly as long as everybody's actually there. There goes Cup. So far it's just exactly like chalk. Carruthers is next. I would clearly take either Jefferson or Eckler next. Come on, buddy. Make a pick. Goes with Chase. Followed by Eckler, Jefferson, and Henry. Almost exactly chalk. We'll see how the back end of this round 1 and early round 2 goes. See if we get somebody reaching for somebody here. I think Najee's the best player, followed by probably Samuel, then Cook, then Adams, then Diggs, then Mixon, then Kamara. But Kamara would definitely have been much later for me. Still pretty much chalk. All top 10 players go in the top 10. Mixon, a little bit of a reach there. Somebody wanting to double up on running backs. Got two very good ones, though, for Team Evans. They got Najee Harris and Joe Mixon, which means they'll probably be looking at receivers next time around. There goes Samuel, Diggs, darn it. All right, 3 players left until my pick. There goes Hill. Fine by me. I think somebody's probably going to go Swift and then Lamb. Maybe Fournette could be a pick. That was the guy I was wanting, Travis Kelce. Okay. So CeeDee Lamb's the top wide receiver left on the board. I am a Cowboys fan. I have not drafted him in any of my drafts. I don't like Mark Andrews this year. The choice for me comes down. I want Connor with one of these 2 picks. And then I'm thinking either Jones or Lamb with the other one. It'd be back-to-back Week 13 buys. And that would be the first round of the playoffs, I think. Or close to it. Lamb. What's Higgins supposed to get? 236. I can't do it. I got to go Connor. I just think the touchdown work for Connor is going to be here. There goes Swift. Now Jones, Lamb, and Higgins are the only ones I'm thinking about now. And Lamb is still there. Wow. Lamb or Higgins? How many points did Higgins get last year? 219. The heck with it. I'll go with Lamb for one league. We'll see how it goes. He's a big question mark though for me as wide receiver 1. I think he's a solid wide receiver 2, don't get me wrong. Welcome in, Jake. Appreciate you joining us. 14 team, okay. 1 running back, 2 wide receiver, 3 flex. You traded Judy and Jacobs for Saquon and Wanda. The best player in that deal for me is Jerry Judy. So you don't get the best player in the trade. I know Saquon's rated higher on ESPN, and I think, everybody thinks he's the greatest, but the production just isn't there. And for fantasy, I think Jerry Judy, even though he was injured last year, he hasn't had production either anyway. But I mean, he had Drew Lock throwing to him. I would have kept the other package. As far as a grade on the trade, I mean, you didn't get completely swindled, I suppose. I mean, you're hoping for a big year from Saquon. I can't give it any higher than a 3. I mean, Jacobs at least gives you consistent production, even if he does drop off because he doesn't get that many carries. But I couldn't do it. All right, got a couple of picks coming up here. Looks like we're going to have our choice of receiver. Josh Allen is still on the board, too. A little bit surprised. Metcalf, a huge reach there. I never reach for a quarterback, but this might be the exception because Allen is technically within range of this pick. Wow. And I'm probably going to end up with Waddle as my receiver out of this group, honestly. I'm going to go ahead and take Allen. I haven't taken him in a draft either. This draft is going very differently than how I usually do them. But I'll go ahead and take the lock at quarterback 1. A reach there for Sutton. Just don't take Waddle. I want him as my number 2. Come on, buddy. Make your pick. A.J. Brown, that's fine. I'll take Waddle. There we go. So I got my top 5 already set. McCaffrey followed by Connor and Lamb were the picks that I made. And then we got Josh Allen in the 4th. And then we circled back for Waddle in the 5th. I think Waddle has a chance to be a top 10 receiver. I think he's guaranteed a top 20 spot. Yeah, I mean, it's camp. I think Sutton being the favorite, while it's good for him, I still think they're going to push the ball to Jerry Judy a lot more than what everybody's thinking. I mean, they did invest a first round pick in him. I understand Sutton's older, and so his, there might be more reliable hands there. But Jerry Judy's the better route runner and that kind of a thing. When he came out of as a first round pick, now the injury issue that he had last year, maybe he's fallen back behind Sutton. But I still think they're going to try to make that pick worth every dime they possibly can. So I think they're going to push the ball to him, especially as the season goes on. I think just early on they're going to try to make Russell comfortable, and they're going to let him throw to Sutton. But I think they're going to try to use Jerry Jeudy. I think he's more dynamic of a playmaker anyway. Sutton's still a very good receiver. I just think Jeudy has the higher ceiling, if you will. I think Sutton has the higher floor. All right, got a couple of picks coming up here. Jeudy's still on the board. Might go that direction. Dobbins is still there. Mitchell's still there. And then we got a bunch of receivers. Welcome in, Hunter. 10-team, no PPR. Okay. We've already talked a little bit about Saquon. I don't think he's going to be able to stay healthy for half the season. I do like Justin Jefferson and Najee. Wow. He must have had like a 8th pick or something in that draft, I'm guessing. I'm guessing he got Justin Jefferson and then followed it up with Najee. Bass is a kicker I'd steer away from. Love Trey Lance, love A.J. Dillon, love Pierce. Mooney's a nice bench piece. Ertz is a good tight end piece. Overall, that's a very good team. I'd give it a solid 7.5, 8. I think you could have done better with Saquon and maybe Keenan Allen, but I can't argue with you getting the number 1 receiver, possibly the number 1 running back. Yeah, sound about right. Alright, we've got 1 pick here until mine. I may go chalk here if it stays this way, with Jeudy and Dobbins at the top. A big reach there for getting Tom Brady ahead of Lamar Jackson. I think Tom Brady's a top 5 quarterback possibly this year, but I think Lamar's a lock for top 5. And he goes Mooney. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take Jerry Jeudy. Locks up my flex spot. I like Mitchell and Dobbins both. I'm not sure if Pierce is going to be there for my next pick, but I'm going to get one of those running backs. Hopefully. Not sure which one I'd go with if I had to pick. Probably Dobbins. Yeah, let's go Dobbins. Alright, so now I got my 3 receivers, 3 running backs. I still need some more depth at both of those spots. I do have the number 1. He's a little inaccurate for my taste. I think that Buffalo is going to be more of a 4th down, push it type of a team. If they're on the other team's side of the field, if they have a 4th and 4, 4th and 3, Buffalo's going to go for it more times than not. And so I think when you're looking at kicker, while you want accuracy, yes, you also want the chance for a big fantasy week from your kicker. So Bass, he's not quite accurate enough, especially as the season gets later with snow and weather and that kind of a thing. But I do like to stream kicker, so drafting one didn't really matter too much. But Bass, I think you could have had somebody better. McManus, Butker, Prater, Carlson, McPherson, Tucker. Those are just a few off the top of my head. Nick Folk. Couple of quarterbacks coming off the board that I like there. Jalen Hurts could be the number 1 quarterback this year, but I already got Josh Allen. I don't need to lock up that position even more so. Probably going to hope for Trey Lance late in the draft. See if I can get the home run hitter out of the quarterback room left. Still got a couple of good receivers here on the board. Pierce, though, is my top option. Carlson for Bass? Yeah, I'd do that straight up. Carlson, I think, is going to be utilized quite a bit. Because remember, you got McDaniels there coming over from from New England. They're not afraid to kick the field goal in that type on that team anyway. Now with McDaniels being an offensive coach, he had a defensive coach in Belichick ahead of him. So maybe Belichick was the one that was kind of like, hold up, let's go ahead and kick the field goal and move forward and take the points. I mean, they are in Vegas, so you know maybe they could put their chips down. But Carlson's a really good, accurate kicker. But I would trade Carlson for Bass in a heartbeat. I like Bass as a kicker, I just don't like him in fantasy. Couple of receivers coming off the board that I really like. Please don't take Dameon Pierce. He's my next pick. If I get Pierce here, I am very lucky. Come on. Yes! Dameon Pierce is my 4th running back. Thank you very much. Now, there's not a whole lot of great receivers left at this point in the draft. Burrow's still out there as far as quarterbacks. You got Hopkins, At this point, though, I'd rather lock up the 5th running back in A.J. Dillon. Ain't no way he's there by my next pick. I do need some receivers, though, but we'll see how it goes. This team is going to be a little light on receivers, I believe. I mean, your top receivers left are Rashad Bateman. Wide receiver 3 with upside. I like Bateman, but I can't count on him as a wide receiver 3. I already have Judy. I still think I'd rather have A.J. Dillon just because of the upside of Dillon. So let's go ahead and take A.J. Dillon. Really like my running back room. McCaffrey, Connor, Dobbins, Pierce, and Dillon. That's elite 5 running backs for me. All 5 of them, I think, probably finish in the top 20 to 25. Dobbins is probably the lowest floor out of that group. McCaffrey as well because of the injuries, but I got plenty of production behind him. And a kicker. Of course, there's a kicker in round 9. Don't do that. Now I still need a tight end. Ertz is there. Knox is there. Probably Ertz then Knox out of that group anyway. Come Get back into the draft. Let's go. There we go. This draft is moving right along. We've only been doing it for 26 minutes and we're already in round 10. George Pickens. Damn. There goes Ertz. That one hurts. I guess we'll wait for Dawson Knox. Burrow is still there. Tempting, tempting. I could go 3 quarterbacks, but I'd never play the other 2. Burrow has a higher floor than Lance, I believe. That offensive line is better. Lance, I think, has a higher ceiling because of the running ability. Do I go Burrow here? Do I go Hopkins? Dubes, of course, is my late round pick. Does Taraza have a quarterback? He does. He does not have a backup yet. I don't like Lazard out of Green Bay this year. As good as everybody thinks he's going to be. Of course, I could go Lazard and Dubes and hope for the best. Alright, let's go ahead and take Burrow. That locks up my quarterback. Should I take a roster spot up for 6 weeks with Hopkins? Let's just look at the receivers that are left. Claypool. And a bunch of nothing. Romeo. Let's go ahead and take Hopkins here. Might be a mistake, but oh well. There goes Trey Lance. That's fine. There goes Lazard. There we go. Another tight end that I like this year is going to be Evan Ingram. So if you're looking this late in the draft for a tight end and almost everybody's gone by your next pick, you know, Pat Freiermuth, Cole Kmet, Dawson Knox, Mike Gesicki, David Njoku, Irv Smith Jr., and Evan Ingram, all viewed very similar for me anyway, so take your pick out of which one you like better. Irv Smith, I haven't really considered him too much this year. Solid TD or tight end 2. I do think they're going to spread the ball around a little bit more. Head coach comes from the McVay tree, which comes from the Gruden tree. The Redskins had, what was his name, Vernon Davis, and the other one that was always injured. Concussion issues, I can't remember his name, out of the Redskins system. They didn't really use Higbee as a fantasy relevant tight end, so we'll skip him. It's like these players are flying off the board now. The Bills defense available this late, okay. Surprised it stayed on this long anyway. Cole Kmet, that's fine. Give me Romeo. There goes Gallup. Advantage of drafting Gallup is you can actually pick somebody up off the waiver wire a day after your draft. Got to wait till waivers clear anyway. But then you can put Gallup on IR and then pick up somebody off of the waiver wire already. We'll go ahead and take Dawson Knox as our tight end. Hope that stack of Allen and Knox works this year. Of course, I stream my tight end, so we'll see how it goes. They're going up against the Rams. Have good corners, so maybe they'll look for Knox a little bit more in week 1. 16 picks till my final couple of selections here. Need a defense, a kicker, and 1 bench spot. If you guys have paid attention to me in the past, I like Raheem Mostert, Darrell Henderson for my final couple of spots. I like to stream my defenses. There's only a couple defenses I think that are worth keeping year-round. Bills, obviously, number 1. I think the 49ers have a chance to be that other defense this year. Buccaneers, just because they have Tom Brady. They improved that secondary a little bit as well. If you're looking for a defense to stream, I like the Broncos in week 1 and week 2, because they will be facing the Seattle Seahawks in week 1 in Seattle, and then week 2 their home opener will be against the Houston Texans. That's a tough week 2 option for Houston. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate you guys watching with us. If you're drafting along with us, hit the like button, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at UpsideSN. That way you are notified when we do go live. Seven picks till our next one. Raheem Mostert's probably top of the heap for me at this point. The other one, Darrell Henderson, if he's gone. Both of those running backs, I think, have a shot to be a top 20 running back. That's why I like them this late. If you don't have a shot to be a top 20 guy, get out. Edmonds goes down due to injury. Raheem Mostert would take over the majority of that work. Myles Gaskin was proved very ineffective last year. He'd be a clear-cut number 2, where Mostert would be the number 1. Come on now. We've had a fast draft so far. We've only been drafting for about 35 minutes in this one, and we're already in round 14, about to be 15. We're going to go ahead and draft the 49ers defense. And then we'll go Raheem. Come on, buddy. Let's go. It's a very quick draft. Not all of them are going to be this fast. Thankful they are this time at least. Or at least it is this time anyway. Come on, come on, come on. If you're just joining us anyway, you can kind of see our draft right here. McCaffrey 1, Connor 2, Lamb went 3rd. And we circled back and got Josh Allen. And then Jalen Waddle. And then the draft got a little interesting for us. We went with Jerry Jeudy as kind of our flex option and J.K. Dobbins. Got very lucky with Dameon Pierce being available that late. And then I couldn't let A.J. Dillon get away from me, so I had to lock up my 4th best running back. And then we went with Joe Burrow to be our backup quarterback. DeAndre Hopkins, our 4th receiver. And then we ended up with Dawson Knox as our tight end. Probably end up streaming the position throughout the season anyway. So a little bit of a loss there at that position. But hey, I got the number 1 quarterback, so I can take a little bit of a hit there. I'm honestly hoping that stack works out, especially early on in the season with Dawson Knox. But we'll see how it goes. With kicker left on the or left to go anyway, we're left with McPherson, Carlson, Folk, Prater, maybe Mason Crosby, but I'm hoping we don't have to go that deep into the bag. One kicker I'm fading this year is Tyler Bass. Come on, man, let's go. Next best kicker, in my opinion, probably Folk. Marvin Jones off the board, that's fine. Will Lutz, that's a reach at kicker. Broncos defense, good pick. They were one of my best streaming defenses this week. I'll take the season-long play with the 49ers, though, since they were still on the board. Come on, come on, come on. Everybody should pretty know the direction they want to go with their final pick at this point. Final pick should almost always be a kicker. I like defenses in round 15. I like kickers in round 16. There goes the top 2 kickers I had left. Folk and Carlson. That leaves me Prater. And of course he's gone. I'm going to be stuck with frickin' Mason Crosby. I just don't think Bass is going to get that much work. I think his ceiling is very low. Graham Gano, 119 points. I can't know. Joseph, just inaccurate. I mean, he got a healthy amount of tries anyway from 50. A more offensive-minded coach brings that down a little bit. Robbie Gould is back healthy. That could be a good option for San Francisco with a rookie quarterback. Does he have the leg, though, to reach from 50? Jake Elliott, not accurate enough. Got to go with Mason Crosby, I guess. It's just, honestly, probably the worst kicker I could have gone with out of the 10 kickers I think that could be drafted. I'll probably end up streaming that position as well, so tight end and kicker I'll probably end up streaming this season. But other than that, I got very solid team. Got to wonder about the production of Lamb, though, this year in that offense. But my runners should be elite. As soon as this draft is over, we'll go ahead and get the next one going. So if you guys want to go ahead and sign up for your league right now and draft alongside us, go ahead and log into whichever site you like to use, ESPN, Yahoo, etc., etc. League is over, or the draft anyway. There's our roster. And just so you guys can see, you cannot move a suspended player to IR. So remember that when you guys draft, you cannot move a suspended player to IR. Alright, let's go ahead and join a public league. We're going to go ahead and do another salary cap one, and we'll see how it goes. And of course I'm the only one in here. 5 minutes left to go. We'll see if we can get another 10 teams in here. I like how ESPN upped the number of teams that you can own up to 25. Remember when I was a kid, they only allowed you to have 10. That's why I created so many different email addresses when I was a kid. I think I had 15 or 16 different email addresses at that time. So I could draft like 150 teams. That's a lot, by the way. So I'd have to get up like at 8 a.m. before the game or before games would kick off, set my lineups, and hope there weren't any injury issues as we got closer to kickoff. That's a lot of teams to go through. And there weren't the smartphones that you see nowadays to kind of get it done. You had to use your personal computer or a laptop. And I'm not even that old. I'm still the only one in this league. We'll give it another minute. If we don't get another person in this one, we're not going to get enough teams in this league, I believe, before the clock strikes 0 again. We'll give it to the 2 minute and 45. We'll give it to the 2 minute or 2 minute 45 seconds to see if another team will join us. If not, then we'll go ahead and log out of this one and just do another snake. I just prefer snake drafts anyway. That draft we completed in less than 40 minutes, by the way. You can draft a team in less than 40 minutes. Alright, no team is on here yet. We're going to go ahead and leave this league. Bye-bye. Join a public league. Snake, draft now. This one is filled up considerably faster. That was the third team in. We already got like 6. Make it 8. And I'm guessing we're going to be full here in just a moment. One team dropped out. Now we're back to 8. 2 minutes to go. Hoping we get the 10th pick. Still have yet to get the number 10 pick in a draft. We've had the 1, we've had the 2, we've had the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't remember if we've had a 9 yet. This league is now full. Go ahead and log into your preferred fantasy app. Go ahead and draft a team along with us. You doing a snake draft as well, or are you going to go ahead and do an auction draft? Never really done the mock draft thing. I always believe once you draft a team, you should manage it. No point in just doing a mock. Draft it and see how it goes. You'll be surprised how your roster pans out, especially if you drafted well into before the preseason began versus now. Pierce, for instance, was drafted probably as the 5th best running back. Now is being drafted as a number 3 running back. That's quite an upturn for him. Other players who have seen kind of some rise and fall in their draft stock: Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott because of the injury to Tyron Smith. The Cowboys did bring in Jason Peters, at least as a practice squad guy now, for now anyway. But that offensive line is not going to look the same. Somebody named their Team Olave Garden. I guess somebody's a Ohio State or New Orleans Saints fan in this draft. 10 seconds here till our draft. Go ahead and sign up for your league. This draft should probably be over by about 11:30, 11:45, depending on how many auto drafts we have. Let's go ahead and enter the draft and see where we end up. We get the number 5 pick. Ugh! Such a difficult spot to draft in. 12-man PPR. Good. I like Renfro for PPR, but I wonder how many targets Adams takes away from him. In a 12-man, Herbert's a very good quarterback. I like Dalvin, Rashad Penny, Michael Thomas, completely out on him. Godwin. Okay, you got a first rounder. There's not much to work with on that roster. Sorry. To rate it, though, 12-team league, you still should have done better. I feel like I'm being a little bit friendly with this one. It's a 3, but probably should be rated as a 2. That's a bad wide receiver group. Don't like the tight end. I thought if you're going to go ahead and go bad at wide receiver, at least you'd have had another elite tight end. No. Instead, you go elite with running back in Dalvin, and then get a nice quarterback, one of the top 3 or 4 guys in Herbert, and then not much else. Penny should be at least your 3rd or 4th running back, not your 2nd. Even in 12-team. Thank you for joining us, Bobby. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at UpsideSN. Make sure you like and follow us. Appreciate all the support. Hope you guys are drafting along with us. Ten seconds here till the first pick. Obviously going to be Jonathan Taylor. So we're probably going to be left with Eckler, Jefferson, Chase, or Kupp at the number 5 pick. Honestly, I'm hoping for Eckler. I don't know. Those top 3 receivers, though, are going to be very difficult to argue against. There's one of them already off the board. McCaffrey has to come off the board here. And he does. Which one's he going to take? Jefferson or Eckler? get a good choice in round 1, and then round 2, you could be left in a little bit of a dead zone. Round 3, you should get a good pick. Round 4, you should get a good pick with the number 5. Round 5, 6, and 7, you start to get a little bit more difficult options to choose from. Come on, House of Pain, pick. It's the first round, you should know who you want. Probably going to take the leftover of Eckler and Jefferson. Honestly, Jefferson could be a little bit above Eckler here, but he's by far the best running back left on the board. Eckler, I think, has an outside chance to be the number 1 fantasy running back, as long as he stays healthy. If he's not healthy, obviously that's out the window. Come on, come on, come on. 10 seconds, buddy. My guess is Eckler's about to be auto-drafted here. And he is, which means Justin Jefferson is my pick. Lock it. Alright, Deebo Samuel, as everybody knows now, is my favorite target in round 2. Has an outside chance to be the number 1 fantasy wide receiver. Should he get to me? I don't think he will. Now, say everybody's gone by the time my pick comes around. I'm left to choose between DeAndre Swift and CeeDee Lamb, etc. My next best option is probably going to be Travis Kelce at the tight end spot, and then James. Oh my God. Russell Wilson was just taken. Holy smokes. What? Okay. I guess that means everybody else gets a little bit more value. I mean, I understand some people like to reach for a quarterback, but you're taking Russell freaking Wilson in round 1. Oh my goodness. I feel like somebody should cue the Jeopardy, you missed a guest song. Dun 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 dun. Jeez. Your other friend's team, Russ, quarterback, Mixon, very good. Javonte, awesome. Diggs and Lamb and Juju. Is this an 8-team league? That's a very good roster. There goes Josh Allen really high. I might be left with Deebo. I'm going to be left with Deebo or Diggs. Give me Deebo. Take Diggs. I want Deebo. I get both. Wow. Unbelievable. Saquon was taken too. Whew. Okay. I've ended up with Jefferson and Samuel on a number of my different fantasy teams. I'm going to have to go back and count. But, wow. Bobby, was that an 8-team league? For you to get Diggs, Lamb, Mixon, and Javonte? Got Kyler, CMC, Najee. Those have got to be 8-team leagues. Najee, CMC are both round 1 guys, unless for some reason somebody didn't like him because of injuries. But then you followed up with Keenan, T. Higgins, Aaron Jones. Ain't no way that's a 10-team league. Those have got to be 8-team leagues. I'm going to grade them as if they're an 8-team league. Even for an 8-team league, you're looking at 4 round 2 players. Unless, of course, you made a trade. That might make sense. Because you don't really have anybody in round 4, 5, 6. Or 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll go with a solid 8, maybe a 9. Oh, I don't like playing in those types of leagues. I mean, looking at the roster, though, I like your second one a little bit better just because I really like Najee, and then you got CMC and Aaron Jones. Should CMC go down, tight end's a little weak, but that's okay. For a 12-team league, Knox, you could do worse. Kyler, I don't like his ceiling as a quarterback. Steer clear of him this year for future drafts. Russ, I like him as a safe bet, but you need a home run hitter behind him. For both of those teams, for a 12-team, I'll give you at least an 8 for those. But if your league was that bad, sorry, man. I like competitive leagues. I don't like leagues where somebody takes Russell Wilson round 1. I mean, it makes my roster look a lot better, don't get me wrong. I mean, we're looking here at almost going into round 3, and we're going to have probably Lamb, Fournette, and Andrews still on the board. There goes Lamb. Kelsey's probably my top pick here, along with Connor. Jones would be the third pick out of that group, but I want Kelsey. I still need some runners at this point, though. Tight ends could be falling. I could get Kyle Pitts later on. George Kittle. One thing I worry about with drafts like this is somebody not paying attention, or somebody trying to cheat and try to trade half their roster to another team for the back half of the other team's roster. Just veto the trade and hopefully everybody else pays attention. Welcome in, Ray. 10-team league. Stafford, okay. Eckler, I love. Javonte, I love. Ertz is a good backup. I don't really care for Pittman, but he should have a decent year. Devontae, I think he's being overdrafted because of his production with Green Bay, but still a very good wide receiver 1. Defense, waiver, very nice. Dobbins, good. Edmonds, okay. Ayuk, get rid of. Godwin's, Henderson, good. James Robinson and Herbert, Overall, 10-team league. You got 5 really good options in your starting lineup. I like the tight end. Dobbins is a good bench piece. And Henderson, overall, I'll give you like a 7. I think you could have done more in rounds 6 and 7, but overall, I like the roster. Aaron Jones is still on the board for me, but I got a chance to draft the number 1 tight end here in round 3. Thank you very, very much. If I don't, then I'm taking Aaron Jones, and then hoping another running back is there in round 4 anyway, like Nick Chubb. My favorite running back outside of the first round is gone, and James Conner. Come on, House of Pain. You go auto draft every single time. You had Dak, Cousins, and Brady all picked before me, and then I took Stafford. Oh. Yeah, I'd rather have Brady 1, Dak 2, Cousins, whoever's drafting him before Stafford. Alright, Javonte is gone. Kelsey is the easy pick for me. My running back position's going to need help, though. Hopefully my runners can pick it up. Getting him with the 25th pick, though. Aaron Jones is going to be gone. Just looking at the runners, it's a clear Nick Chubb #1 option. And then not much else. Gets a little bare after Aaron Jones. Hopefully Chubb will be there. Got some auto drafts coming as well. Hopefully they don't take runners. Come on, Ish. There goes Jones. Brown, Keenan Allen. Now time for some auto drafts. Come on, come on, come on. Good part about this is we're going to see a lot faster round 5 through 16 as long as they stay out and stop coming back in and out and in and out and in and out. I'm hoping they set their auto draft queue anyway and just left it. If you guys have questions about your roster, send us a question. Hit that subscribe button. Aaron Rodgers, seriously? Might have to reach for a quarterback because these jokers are taking quarterbacks that are supposed to go in round 12, round 10-ish. First and second and third round. Just looking at his roster, he's got Russell Wilson, Saquon Barkley, and Aaron Rodgers. At least this guy who stepped away ended up with Najee and Kamara just by going auto pick. Now he's going to end up with T. Higgins and Mike Evans. That's at least respectable. As soon as these auto picks are gone, should move a lot faster. Come on, come on, come on. Tick, 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 tick. I really like T. Higgins, but I'm starting to cool on him a little bit. There we go. Auto, auto, auto. Baker Mayfield? Wow. He's taking garbage quarterbacks. Michael Pittman? Thank you for Nick Chubb, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you. Come again. And I still might end up with Josh Allen. I don't think anybody's taken him yet. Oh, no, he is gone. Never mind. Having a little bit of a run on quarterbacks now. Just looking at the ones that are left. Herbert, Hurts, probably in that order. Followed by probably Brady and then Burrow. And then Murray. And then Lance. Prescott and then Stafford. Still some good quarterbacks left. No need to push it. We got 6 picks left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pitts is still out there. Nobody that really scares me down here. I could go with yet another receiver just because that's where the board is at. Again, I'm steering away from Cam Akers at all costs this year. I like Terry McLaurin, but not enough. I like Deontay Jordan, but not enough. I like Jalen Waddle as a possible number 1 receiver this year in fantasy. Not the number 1, but one of the top 10. A number 1 on your team in a 10-team league. Especially if you go running back with your top 2 picks. Waddle could be a very good number 1 in that case. There goes Cam Akers. Kyle Pitts is still there. He'd be a good flex as well. I don't know. I've never drafted 2 tight ends, but if the board falls that way to me, I might. I've drafted it in years past, but not this year. I mean, nobody down here is really worth taking above those guys. This guy sure does like to take up his time. There goes Jalen Waddle. Pitts, probably the best option left, even though I already have a tight end. Hurts is off the board. Holy smokes. Just looking at the quarterbacks that are left, there's only one top 100 guy left. They have a quarterback. They have a quarterback. They don't. Couple of teams still don't have quarterbacks. Burrow's probably my favorite out of that group that's left. I am not reaching for a 100 ranked player at pick 45 though. Not happening. Come on, man, let's go. This draft is really dragging on because of these people dipping in and out of the draft. Deontay Johnson, David Montgomery. I think Kyle Pitts is probably the best option left. An elite tight end. I mean, Zeke is still on the board. I've never really drafted him in a league. This year, anyway. They're projecting 214. How many 20-point games did he have last year? 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, he did have a lot of injuries. Offensive line isn't as good there. Kellen Moore does like to throw the ball. Montgomery last year, 195. How many 20-point games? 1, 2, 3, 4. No thanks. Kyle Pitts it is. There you go. My first team I've drafted 2 tight ends in so far this year. I get the number 1 tight end and the number 3 tight end. Now my running back position could be a little bit weak as I go through the year. But I like my late round runners. I just want to get one of my guys that I really like there in the 6th round. Quarterback, I'll probably wait until the 8th or 9th. Here's Olave Garden, who again set his board really weirdly. Drafted Baker Mayfield in the 3rd round. Hook. Come on now, got about 17 of you guys with us. Thank you very much. Just waiting for this draft to really get going. It's been a good one so far for us anyway. If you've paid any attention to like Team Olave here, just look at their roster. Russell Wilson, Saquon Barkley, Aaron Rodgers, and Baker Mayfield with their first 4 picks. Let's see what they do with the next couple. They go with Metcalf and Christian Kirk. He's one of my round 7 guys that I like, so not a bad pick at least there. Our draft, on the other hand, Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, Travis Kelce, Nick Chubb, and Kyle Pitts. Yes, I drafted 2 tight ends. It's just the way the board fell. I'm not going to reach for a player when I don't have to. I still don't like the running backs at the top of the board. Wide receiver still has the best ability here. Cortland Sutton. And he goes off the clock. So now it's Dobbins or Judy. Dobbins or Judy. Elijah Mitchell, Gabe Robinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, all in consideration. Kyler Murray's the last of this group of quarterbacks, but again, I don't like his ceiling. All right. Dobbins just for the security there at the number 2 back. And I'm still probably going to circle back and get Dameon Pierce in the 8th round if he's still there, I hope. There goes Darren Waller. Going to force these teams to take tight ends. Now that I've got 2 of them. I don't necessarily need any position. Damian Pierce is one of my ride or dies this year as far as running back. I think he's a lock to be a running back too. Next year, I think he has the upside to be a RB1. Could be in first or second round contention. I think he easily beats out Leonard Fournette this year. Fournette, I think, is more of a RB3 or 4. There goes Brown. We should see this area of the draft go a little bit more according to the board anyway. There goes Godwin. Right now, I'm probably leaning towards Mitchell, Davis, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Juju. Allen Robinson and Thielen are also in contention here. If I had to pick, though, I'd prefer probably Mitchell just for the security at running back. What bye week is Pierce? 6. Okay. Fine by me. Come on, Halsell. You're giving these auto picks time to get back in there, set their board again, and then leave again. Come on. You have back-to-back picks. There's no reason why it should be taking a full 3 minutes for both picks combined. There goes Elijah Mitchell. So that means it's Gabe Davis, St. Brown, Juju, or Allen Robinson, or Thielen. Probably Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I don't think he'll be there. There goes Schultz. Come on. "40 seconds left on this clock. Come on. Make a pick. Make a decision." If both Amon-Ra St. Brown and Davis are both gone, it's probably Juju would be my next pick. I like Kyler Murray, but his ceiling is just so low for me. There goes Mooney, so I should have one of those two receivers left, and Thielen, okay. We're going to go ahead and take Amon-Ra St. Brown and lock up another receiver. I'm not letting those auto picks get decent players. No, thank you. And the auto draft is back. Dang it! There goes Kyler Murray. So now we're into the very back end of the quarterback market now. see which direction Olave Garden goes. Amari Cooper and CEH, Sanders, all fine by me. Juju's probably my favorite pick right now. And then Pierce, although I might go Pierce first. Lockett, Hawkinson, that's fine. Gibson, that's extra fine. Pierce is easily the best running back on the board. I have to take him. I can't afford to lose him. A.J. Dillon's going to be my running back 4, I believe. Hoping I get one of these receivers to fall to me. I doubt it. Irv Smith, round 8. Another team reaching for tight end because I took 2. Got a minute left till this team goes auto as well. Just wish these teams would stay auto and just leave the draft alone. If you're not going to pick your picks, or if you want to set your draft board and then leave, that's fine. Just stop this in and out stuff. Got about 20 seconds here, 15 seconds until this team goes auto, and then Halso takes forever. Hopefully they're paying attention and won't be this time. With any luck. You've had a full minute and a half now to think about your pick. Who do you want? Make your pick. No reason it should be taking this long for this guy to pick. And he's still got the next pick after this. Alright, if you're just joining us anyway, we ended up with Justin Jefferson and Deebo Samuel with our first couple of picks. Travis Kelce fell to us in the 3rd round. We noticed, obviously, the draft was going very differently early on, mainly because people were drafting Baker Mayfield and Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf in rounds 1 through 3. No. We've got Antonio Gibson already off the board. Irv Smith Jr. It's been like that all night in this draft, so that means my team is a little bit better than what you might normally get. Quarterbacks have been flying off the board. Tight ends have now been flying off the board. I still would like a 3rd or a 4th receiver anyway. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown on my bench. I would have liked to have Juju, but he's not there. It looks like there's a couple of auto picks in between me, so it looks like we'll probably miss out on Allen Robinson as well. If we do miss out on him, we'll probably turn our attention to quarterback and lock up our quarterback left Tom Brady's probably the best one, along with Joe Burrow and Trey Lance, that's left on the board. All three of which I love. Nine seconds. There goes Brady. He took both of the players I was thinking about with my pick. Oh well. But it looks like still Allen Robinson is there, so maybe we'll get lucky and get Allen Robinson instead. And of course not. Alright, so Prescott, Burrow. We'll go ahead and take Burrow. I think his ceiling is a little higher than Dak. Dak last year had 320 points. Burrow had 314. And that offensive line is better. Look at his final 2 weeks, though. 38 and 34 points. Yep, we'll go Burrow. I like my third receiver already. I do need a couple of others. There are a lot of good options left. There goes Allen Lazard. Wow. Tight ends going off the board. Ekubom. Wow. There's Freiermuth. I think I'm going to go ahead and take A.J. Dillon just to make sure I get my number 4 running back. And then if Lance is still there at my next pick, I'll take Lance. Pretty good roster. I really like my running backs now. I got 4 of them that I can trust. My receivers, I got 3 of them. I got 2 good tight ends. I got a pretty loaded team, if I do say so. Just so you can see the reason why. Team Olave, here's your team. Your players of note: Christian Kirk, DK Metcalf, Saquon Barkley, Amari Cooper. Yuck. Best player left on the board right now, Elijah Moore. Ranked number 80. We're already at pick 101. I don't think he's going to go here. Tony Pollard just came off the board. Zach Ertz is another very good tight end still left. I'm not going to take him, though. I already have 2. 2 of the top 3 tight ends in fantasy are on my roster. And probably will start with this team, honestly. Kyle Pitts, I think, is elite ceiling. Not just as a tight end, but as a receiver. I think he has a chance to break 200 points. Maybe 220, 230, 240. Depends on how heavy they use him in that offense. If we're talking 4 catches for 80 yards and maybe a touchdown every other week, no. But if we're talking 10 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown every week, yeah, he's going to be that good. We'll see how that offense goes. Two picks until my next one. DeAndre Hopkins is still there. He'd be a good wide receiver 4. I'd never know when to play him, though. He'd be a bye week fill-in. Could be a good option. I think that's probably the route I will go. Dak Prescott is still on the board. Trey Lance is still on the board. Lance is the second best quarterback left, so with those auto picks coming, I think he's probably going to be gone. Looking at the receivers that are left, slim pickings. The Bills defense is still on the board too, surprisingly. No team has overdrafted it. There goes Penny and Ertz. I'm going to go ahead and take Hopkins here and hope that Lance falls to me in the next round. I don't think he will, but I'm going to hope for it. If Lance gets there, and of course one of my favorite targets this year, Romeo. I've got 4 receivers. I don't need George Pickens. There goes Lance and Prescott. Go figure. Now just looking at the quarterbacks, there's nobody else that I want to keep on my active roster. So when I do need to have a fill-in quarterback that week for Joe Burrow, I'm fine going to the waiver wire. So I am on the clock here. I could take Michael Gallup here and lock up a waiver wire spot because Michael Gallup will be IR eligible. I just want to make sure I get Romeo. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and take Gallup. It's the first league I've taken Gallup in. Biggest reason why I'm taking it, aside from, of course, his play on the field and his chance to be a number 2 receiver in a good pass-happy offense in Dallas, is that he becomes IR eligible this week, so I can go ahead and bring on somebody else. Well, that's why I like to have somebody else with Lance. Lance is the home run option this year, so I like him as my second best quarterback. I like a more consistent guy like Tom Brady as my number 1. If I'm going with Lance as my number 2. Jalen Hurts before both of them. Patrick Mahomes, Herbert, Allen, all ahead of them. Lamar Jackson in that group as well. I'd still rather have Lance than Kyler Murray, though. Even if Lance ends up less than Murray, I'd rather have the potential to have more with Lance. I think Murray is probably a safe bet to get to between 200 and 300 points, but I think that's his absolute max. Lance, I think, could easily get over 350. Depends on how effective he is. Got a couple of picks here left. I like Raheem Mostert. He could be my 5th running back. I have 4 really good ones. See if I can get cute with my draft here. Maybe get the Bills defense. Maybe. We'll have to see how this goes. There we go. Come on, Team Halso, let's go. And they take the Bills defense. Okay. They actually have a decent team from what I've seen. Yeah, Kyler's more of a early season quarterback. Cliff Kingsbury more of an early season coach. Um, they struggle with adjustments. We'll see if they get any better this year. You saw the playbook issue in the contract or before the season began. They took that out after the media kind of caught on to it and was like, "Hey, is your guy not able to handle a playbook? Is he too busy playing video games, not caring about what he's doing?" Those are things that worry me, especially if that's what I'm counting on as my number one fantasy quarterback. I got Gallup. I'm going to go ahead and take Mostart here, even though I'd rather have Dubes and hope he falls to me. With defenses starting to come off the board, I'm hoping Romeo makes it to me. I still have one bench spot available, and it's going to be earmarked for him. Here's Olave Garden with the weirdest roster in the history of fantasy football. Just so you guys can kind of see it, he ended up with Russell Wilson, Saquon Barkley, Damian Harris, DK Metcalf, Christian Kirk, Ekubom, Cooper, Rodgers, Mayfield, Lockett, Woods, Robinson, and now has 2 picks here. Looking at his roster, he has, doesn't show the limits on his. I think he's maxed out his, or close to maxing out his quarterbacks. For me, I could pick up on the waiver wire Carr or Cousins possibly. If they do end up going, then we're probably going to be looking more at bye week fill-ins of like Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz, pieces like that. For 1 week, I can live with that. My roster, on the other hand, Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, Travis Kelce, Nick Chubb, Dobbins, Kyle Pitts, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Dameon Pierce, A.J. Dillon, Joe Burrow, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Gallup, just hoping Romeo makes it to my next pick. If he does, then that'll pretty much lock up my bench spots, and then I'll search for my defense and kicker. There goes Cousins. 49ers defense is the only other defense I think is worth keeping week to week to week in the NFL this year. There goes McPherson. So Romeo does make it to me, locks up my bench. There goes Justin Tucker. McManus is going to be probably the top kicker left for me, along with Folk, Carlson, Butker, and Gay. Prater after that. I should end up with a decent kicker, though. For defense, probably going to go the streaming route this week, or this time, and go with the Broncos defense. As I mentioned before, they're going to start off with the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Week 2 is going to be Houston at home, so that should be good. Just want to check in on Halso's roster. He had the top pick anyway. He got Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, Mark Andrews. That's a very healthy roster. I just don't like Akers, obviously. I love Brady, the pick. Godwin, Mitchell, very good. Schuster, very good. The rest of his roster, but that's a very good starting lineup. Mitchell, I think, could easily fill in for Akers there, honestly. They should be a top 4 team in this league. Well, the offensive changes should be more of the same for Cousins. Think back to his days with the Washington Redskins. That's his new coach, is the quarterback coach that he had there, Kevin O'Connell. It was the offensive coordinator with the Rams. Now has come over to the Vikings. Well, that and their linebacker group also looks much improved. I got a young kid at linebacker that's been dominating this preseason. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he caught my eye. They got a Super Bowl level roster. Just curious to see how that quarterback position unfolds. The running back room is a little bit different as well. No Raheem. I like Raheem in Miami. You have a fantasy league, Charles? You on ESPN? We'll go ahead and take McManus here. Is it a private league or a public one? When you say 9 tonight, what time zone are you talking? There goes Brett Maher. That's fine. My Broncos defense. Dang it. Well, possibly Burks, maybe. So you're talking like close to 2:30 in the morning here? Well, 2 in the morning here. What time zone are you in? Alright, I'm left with some bad defensive options here for week 1. Titans versus the Giants, Panthers versus the Browns, Rams against the Bills, no thank you. Of course, I could immediately move the Rams to the bench. Hawaii, okay. Ugh. The heck with it, I'll go with the Panthers. I just think Brissett's going to throw some picks. Now, once this league is over, I'm going to shift Gallup to my IR spot and then see if I can pick somebody up. I think I have to clear waivers by tomorrow, though. I'll probably be asleep by 2 o'clock. Otherwise, I probably would do that league. I don't know if I'm still up at that time. Yes, but I'm probably gonna be asleep, man. Two hours, 18 minutes. Yeah, it's 2 a.m. I'll put it this way. No, I can't do it. Man. I actually like to play some leagues with people I actually know are playing the league. So that does kind of interest me. If you have another league that you're joining, maybe we could do a league on here or something. Create a league, maybe do an upside league. That'd be fun. Not sure how many people we could get to join on short notice. The season does start on Thursday. Got one pick left until we can go to our team. Tomorrow we'll do some fantasy drafts as well. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Just waiting for this final pick here. Darrell Henderson just goes off the board. He was one of the pieces I was hoping would fall. Yeah. Alright, let's go to the team. I had a few friends who played a league with me for probably 5 or 6 years anyway. They actually took it seriously. We did the whole thing. It was nice. We actually did it offline and then input all the picks afterward. We actually had the whole board up on board up ahead of us and all that kind of thing. It was pretty great, not gonna lie. Anyway, but those guys have since moved on, moved out of state, gotten married, those kinds of things. But definitely gonna remember those times. Those were fun. Alright, now my IR is full after moving him there. George Pickens is probably one of the best options there. Week 1. Let's look at the projected score for week 1. Matt Ryan's a good quarterback option for a backup here since I don't have much left. Let's look at percent rostered. George Pickens I like. Let's look at the plus minus. Gainwell, no thank you. Let's look at the average. Deshaun Watson I could keep on the bench. That's another bench spot to be eaten up by a suspended player, though. I don't think so. Marvin Jones, not really exciting me. Let's look at the flex spot. I think George Pickens is probably the best of this group at the moment. There we go. Perfect. Joe Burrow's bye week is when? I think it's week 10. So there we go. There's our roster. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Just to kind of recap everything we've done. Did a bunch of snakes drafts. We did a salary cap draft again, auction type draft. Unfortunately, we couldn't get another one to do in this video because unfortunately it's midnight here Central Time anyway. And unfortunately nobody's willing to play on a salary cap level. But thinking about creating a league possibly tomorrow if we can get enough interest in one. If you guys would like to participate in something like that, shoot me a message on one of my videos, comment on on one of my videos. I do get those comments in my inbox. I appreciate all the support that I've been getting lately. And if you'd like to join us, let us know. No chance I can convince you to join our league. I'm going to be asleep. I'm already fading anyway. I mean, I got to hit the hay. But that does sound like a lot of fun. Getting people who actually know what they're doing in fantasy is hard to find. I'd fall asleep halfway through that draft at the very latest. I know myself. I'd get through round one and two and be like, you said you got two people or two spots open in your draft? You doing it on ESPN? Let's see. Where's their private leagues? Trying to figure out how to even find private leagues on here anyway. Basically, you send a message, I'm guessing. You used to be able to sort through all the different private leagues in the live draft lobby. So like this is the sign up here. I just see public, create a league, and join plus fantasy league. You said you got two spots still available. What time? Everybody's actually going to be paying attention to this league, I hope. So the draft's probably going to be starting around 2. So the draft would end, what, around 3:30? Team. You said PPR? Was that it? All right. I'll see if I can stay awake for it. Go ahead and send me the information. I'll go ahead and do it. You just had a couple of spots open up or something? Just send the link to. Um, hmm. I think you commented on one of my videos. I'll put it. I'll put it in my comments, and then you'll get it that way. But yeah, I'll go ahead and send it in the comments anyway. Just keep an eye out for that here in just a moment, okay? So you might want to keep your channel open. Might not even be on this video. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight, and I'll go ahead and send you that email anyway here in just a moment, Mr. Charles. So keep an eye out for that. But thank you guys for joining us tonight. Appreciate all the support. We'll be doing some fantasy stuff tomorrow for you guys. And if I can get everything to work out with Charles here, I'll probably do another live with that one here at 2 a.m. So hopefully you guys appreciate some of this. But anyway, we'll see you guys here in just a little while. Thank you guys again for all the support. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you guys later on. Have a nice night.